My dad married twice, so there was 4 of us at first, and then after my mom got too old for him, he went and got another one, and it happens. You got to trade them in, dude. It's like a Kia, like this thing's got a wobbly wheel.
Oh my God.
Always be friends forever.
Welcome to Your Only Friends, where friendship is first, but comedy is always. I'm your host, Jared Dykas. This is a reminder we are your only friends. Today on the show, we have a longtime veteran of stand-up comedy. He's been doing it for over 25 years. He's a Tampa Bay native. He is a talk show personality on the morning show for 102.5 The Bone. I bring to you my new friend, Johnny B. How are you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing great, brother.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to be here, man. I've been seeing a lot of my buddies and a lot of the guys that I'm kind of mentoring coming up the ranks, popping on. And I was like, dude, this guy Jared has a good-looking podcast. It sounds good. It looks good. And I didn't say I wanted to be on it. And then I guess somebody got back to you and said, hey, Johnny B likes your podcast.
Yeah.
And then you invited me. I was like, yeah, I'll be there. So,
yeah, man, I heard about it. I was like, it's funny. The first time that I've had like an experience of you, I was actually barking in Clearwater. And at the Clearwater Comedy Club.
Oh, yeah.
And I was trying to get someone to come to the show, and they were like, is Johnny B going to be there? And you weren't on the show. And I was like, I don't think so, not tonight. And he was like, oh, if you get Johnny B there, I'll be there in a second. And I remember being like, this was months and months ago, and I'm new to the area. I'm new to the scene. So like, I don't know incredible amounts about you. That's why I'm really excited to talk to you today. But I was like, I got to look in more to this guy. And then when I saw you, I was like, dude, obviously you've been doing stand-up for a minute, but everything
I got to be honest with you, that was me in a wig that night. I don't want to be a jerk, but I'm always out there trying to promote myself. No, that's cool, man. I wish that guy was telling more bookers, to get me out there, because you talk to any comic, doesn't matter what our calendar looks like, it's not enough. I always want to be on stage. Now, that is really cool. One of the things I love about Tampa, besides everything, I love my city, very proud of my city. Like I drive across, I live in the Brandon area, and I drive all the way through Tampa to St. Pete every day to the station, and I still get goosebumps just driving through downtown Tampa. I go, this is my city, dude. Like, I love Tampa so much. Like, it's a preseason Bucks game later, and I'm like, I want to see the guys that are going to be UPS drivers trying to make the team. Like, I love everything Tampa. So when I get to perform like for my people and they're excited to see me, like, there's nothing better than that. I love it.
You grew up in Tampa.
Yeah, Seminole Heights.
Wow.
Way back in the day before it was gentrified, you know, like I was, I did a lot of running, not for exercise, but for survival. And I went to Hillsborough High School, and it's funny. I'm the same age as Bert Kreischer. He also grew up in the Tampa area, but he went to like Jesuit, which is like kind of the preppy rich kid school, and then I went to like the ghetto school, and then fast forward 35 years, he's rich, I'm poor. It's like it's the same, like it's like everything just it all like was destined to be this way, but man. Yeah, I love it though. It's cool.
I'm curious, you have a music history. How did you get into talk radio, and how did you get into being more of a personality from music?
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy journey. So growing up, I always wanted to be a comedian. Like, I was the class clown, all that stuff. Got in trouble a lot. My dad was he did a lot of things. He raised me kind of in a pool hall in Tampa. He was kind of a pool hustler, taught me how to deal poker in the back room of a pool hall, which I also dealt poker for over 20 years in the daytime, up until like 5 years ago. And that's a whole nother part of me, World Series of Poker, lived in Vegas, all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, played for a living, all that. But when my dad kind of cleaned himself up, he became like a teacher and a professor, a college professor. He worked for the Department of Defense. He was still always funny, and he was always like, the life of every party, and it kind of rubbed off on me. So when I got in trouble in school for being a class clown, they would call him in. They're like, you're not going to believe what your son said. And he'd be like, I can't believe it. And he'd yell at me in front of them. Then he'd like take me for ice cream and be like, that was pretty good.
Oh my God.
Kind of like that was pretty good. You got some chops. But, and he would show me like he would buy me albums of like Red Fox and Bill Cosby and all the old comedy albums. And And I remember like comedy specials, they were only on like HBO. And my dad would like sit with me. He's like, you got to watch these Rodney Dangerfield young comedian specials.
Oh my gosh.
And really got me into comedy. And he also would tell me the dirtiest jokes all the time. I ended up writing a book recently. It's on Amazon called Dirty Jokes My Dad Told Me Drunk on the Front Porch.
Oh my gosh.
And I sell it as my merch now after shows.
Oh, that's great.
It's so great because I really, over the last few years, he passed away last year.
Oh, man.
And before he passed away, because he'd been battling cancer for a long time, I told him, I said, we got to like have some lunches. You need to tell me all these jokes again. Oh. Because I'm going to put them in a book. And he's like, you would do that for me? I go, yeah, because I know you're not going to leave me anything. So this is kind of like how we're doing this, you know? And I was right. He didn't leave me anything. So it worked out. Worked out great. But yeah, so I always sang as a kid too. Like, you know, kind of like messing around singing, and got into a little bit of theater in middle school, high school. And people were like, wow, this guy can sing. My friends were like, you know, you could sing. And after high school, I started like dabbling around like karaoke shows, things like that. And then I found a jam night with a live band on a Sunday at a bar I wasn't even old enough to be in. And I would go in and they had a $50 bar tab if you won this singing competition with a live band. And I won it like 6 weeks in a row. And the bar owner's like, just come in and we'll give you a bar tab, but you can't be in the contest because people they don't want to go up against you. They're getting
How
upset.
old were you?
19 probably.
Oh man.
Yeah. And so I started doing that and singing with the band on a regular basis. And then I remember one night they had a DJ and I didn't like the DJ. I was like, this guy stinks. He's not good. And the bar owner was like, well, if you can fit in the DJ booth, because I was way fatter then, if you could believe it. Like I was a big boy. And he's like, if you could fit in the DJ booth and do a better job, I'll give you a job. So I auditioned, got that job. So I was DJing in a nightclub, singing in a nightclub, all before I was allowed to be in a nightclub. And did that for a long time. Sang in a band, went to Nashville in 1995 because I was like, you know, I want to be around the music scene. Got told in 1995, nobody wants a big fat singer. Like I talked to producers, I talked to bookers, and they were like, look, you're great. You know, you could sing, and I could sing R&B, I could sing, you know, rock, country, everything. And they were like, yeah, you're just not marketable at your size. So, so I was like, all right, well, back to Tampa, singing, everything else, cutting jokes in between songs, like really upsetting my bandmates.
Oh my gosh.
They're like, can you just take anything serious? Like, but they would laugh too. Like they liked it more than they didn't like it. And then my guitar player, who's still one of my best friends, he tricked me into going to a comedy workshop. And there used to be a comedy club in Tampa on Kennedy Boulevard called Comedy Works. It's where Larry the Cable Guy got started out. And they had a workshop in the daytime, and he's like, we're going to lunch, which is how you reel in a fat person, get them to go anywhere.
Stop.
Yeah. He's like, you want to go to lunch? I'm like, yeah. You know, what do you want me to do? You know? And he pulls into the comedy club. I'm like, well, I guess they got good burgers. I don't know what we're doing. I go, why are we here? You know, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He's like, it's a workshop. You're going to go in there and you're going to do a workshop for stand-up comedy. So I was like, I went in there and I was like, I don't know. So sit through like an hour and a half, 2 hour workshop, and they're teaching you how to jot down your ideas. And I wish we had those. Like we used to have them a lot back in the day. Like Side Splitters had a workshop on Saturdays. All kinds of people did. And so I write 3 minutes right there at the workshop. They said, who wants to audition for tonight? And I was like, I'm not raising my hand, dude. Like, I'm not doing that. And then my buddy goes, Johnny does. And they're like, all right, well, get up here. And I was like, yeah, all right. And I got up there. They said, yeah, good enough. You're doing 3 minutes tonight at 8 o'clock. Happy Cole was the headliner. And now he's like, he books all the Carnival cruises. Good guy. Kind of an angel. Good dude. And got up there, did the set. And there was a guy that used to be in the Tampa comedy scene, legend, passed away a couple years ago, named Pretty Paul Parsons. I don't know if you ever saw him. You're probably weren't around, but he was this grim-looking old man that wore like, you know, he wore like overall or coveralls, like he was a mechanic, and he would say the most heinous, darkest stuff, and he was hilarious. Like, he just looked like an old 80-year-old zombie. Well, he looked exactly like that in 1995 also. He was there. He was running the workshop. He goes, loved your set. Do you want to do Side Splitters tomorrow night? And I go, what? I went from going to lunch to now I'm doing comedy 2 nights in a row. I'm calling my family. There's no texting in 1995.
Yeah.
So I'm calling them up going, you got to go to Side Splitters tomorrow. Like in my head, I'm going to have an HBO special within like 6 months. You know,
Yeah.
what's going on? I go to Side Splitters. I'm supposed to do 4 minutes. I went 1 minute over, ran the light, got yelled at by the former owner, like chewed me out in front of everybody at the bar. And I was like, if this is comedy, I don't want any part of it. Went back into the club, kept DJing, kept singing. And then in 2000, the Improv opened up in Ybor City, which is now the Funny Bone. And part of their grand opening was a giant comedy competition. And at the time, I just quit the bar and was working at the Hard Rock as a poker dealer for maybe a year. And they had this big competition, all these big ads and everything. So all my friends at the poker room, they were like, yeah, you're the funniest person in this whole building. Go do this competition. And I was like, well, I got a couple sets under my belt from 5 years ago. Yeah. And I did. I wrote a whole new 5 minutes, went, it was 35 comics. And Sloan, who's still around, still one of my best buddies, was hosting that night. And Chris Porter was the feature act that weekend, who's now one of the biggest headliners in the country. I won the competition, and it was like $100, but I felt like I was on top of the world. But that right there roped me in. I was like, now I want to do comedy. Like that felt good.
But from only doing 2 sets, and then you took a 5-year hiatus, essentially, to then re-enter a competition and win like that.
Yeah. But it was mostly, open micers and amateurs, and
but still to take all that time and then you wrote a new 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And I don't know. I think I had an advantage because of being a performer, for so many years, being on stage with the band for 10 years. I wasn't afraid of a crowd. I knew how to work a microphone. I was kind of doing stand-up a little bit as a front man in a band. Like I said, I was pissing everybody off because I was telling jokes and changing lyrics of songs to make fun of people, doing all that kind of stuff. One time we did a joint gig with an Elvis impersonator, and to kind of mock him, he left a bunch of his stuff in the back room in the green room, and he had like extra wigs and stuff. So I dressed up like 400-pound Elvis.
No way.
Yeah. And this is when they knew I had to do comedy. This was probably 93, 94. I come out and I am just this gigantic, picture Jelly Roll, but Elvis Presley, right? And the guy that was the Elvis impersonator, he looked over, and you just saw him. He was like, what is going on? I go on stage with him. Now he leaves. He's not happy.
Oh, my God.
I start doing his whole set.
No, you didn't.
But I changed all the lyrics of the songs. Oh, yeah. So, like, instead of Teddy Bear, I was singing Gummy Bear. Instead of Hound Dog, I turned it to Hot Dog.
My God.
And I'm like Weird Alling it on the fly,
Oh, man.
And the place is going berserk. So the club that we were in, they said, that was the best thing we've seen in a long time. The crowd loved it. How do we book more Fat Elvis shows? So we were doing Fat Elvis like once a month after that. For about 2 years, I'm doing Fat Elvis once a month. I'm like,
my Lord.
I'm like, do you guys want to rehearse? And they're like, no, do exactly what you did the first time. Like, you don't have to rehearse. You're an insane person. So yeah, I got to where I was wrapping scarves around fat girls' necks and singing to the crowd, and it was insane. But so I think all of that kind of like came together to that competition at the Improv. I had an advantage over those folks because I had a lot of experience, and I hit the ground running or waddling very fast. Yeah.
What makes you put yourself out there as much as you did from a young age? Like, what would you call that? Is it a relationship that you had with your father, or what made you so open to putting yourself out there and performing?
Yeah, I think growing up where I grew up, kind of a rough neighborhood, inner city, and there was like different paths you can take in the 80s, like either you were like tough guy, or you were like the athlete, or you had to have something else special about you. I was like the funny guy, I mean, I played football and all that stuff, but I was the guy that would go on the corner and sling your mama jokes with all the other kids and be the best one there. Yeah. And they knew it too. They're like, oh, this fat white kid is so good at the dozens, and I would look forward to it. And it just got to be where I was the guy that made everybody laugh, and that kept me from getting my ass kicked, which was great, And they would protect me. Like there'd be gangs of guys from other parts of the neighborhood would come over, and they're like, "Oh, let's kill the white boy," and then my friends would be like, "No, he's our guy, You can't kill our white boy. That's our white boy, But yeah, I was just always, family functions, anything. I was always. People they expected me to make them laugh, and it's still that way now. Like I can't go into Publix, in Valrico, without some of the cashiers going, "So what's going on with you today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just picking up some zucchini." And they're like, "And?"
Oh my god!
And I'm like, I just don't. I want to say like I don't want to be funny today, but I just go and. Trump did a flyover on Putin. Did you see it? I don't know. I just, people will expect me to make them laugh. I love it though. Like, I feel like everybody's put on the earth to do something. Like, I'm one of those people a little bit. I'm not overly religious or anything like that, but I do feel like things happen for a reason sometimes.
Absolutely.
And I feel like certain people were put on this earth to build things. Certain people were put on this earth to be philosophers or to nurture people and all that. And I feel like, I was put on this earth to entertain people, whether it's comedy, singing, radio, whatever. My job is to entertain you to the point where you're not worried about all the crap that's around it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and I love that. That's what I want to do every day. I want to make you laugh, so you're not worried about, your financial issues or your relationship problems. As a matter of fact, my stand-up's kind of based around all of the things that that we deal with every day and making fun of it, and that's my favorite kind of stand-up. Like relatable things,
things about life,
like family, life. Just everything that would normally stress you out. I'd rather like take that dark thing, spin it, and make it funny, and you go. Everybody goes, "That's me, dude. He's talking about me." It's
And what gave you that perspective to be able to like turn necessarily some negative things into like a funny? I really admire that.
I think my dad, honestly, like he grew up, in worse neighborhood than me. He grew up in like the Ponce de Leon projects in Tampa, never had anything. Kind of brought himself up from nothing, and he always found a way to spin things into a funny way. Like always. I remember like just little things. I remember one time he would come home really, really drunk from like the pool halls and stuff. And I remember KFC back in the day used to sell not just chicken. Like in the 70s, they would sell pork chops and ribs, and they would put it all into a thing. And I remember there was somehow a pork chop bone just got lodged behind a couch in our living room. Like, and I remember my mom was so upset. She like picked it up and she's like, "How did this pork chop bone?" And then my dad, hungover, half asleep, just starts singing a song about a pork chop bone.
Oh my God.
And I still remember the song like now. And like if I sang it around my siblings, they would just start dying laughing because my dad just like out of nowhere, he's on the couch. You could tell he's just like out of it, and she's like yelling about a pork chop bone. He just goes, "Well, a pork chop bone, it's got to be somewhere." And like, she goes, "What?" And then he just starts singing the whole song. Then me and a couple of my brothers, we're joining in as backup singers.
Oh my God!
Now we're like the Temptations, and my mom just starts laughing. She's like, "Who are these crazy people?"
Yeah.
But little things like that, just.
So you grew up with siblings then, right?
Oh yeah, like my dad married twice, so there was 4 of us at first, and then. After my mom got too old for him, he went and got another one, and it happens. You got to trade him in, dude. It's like a Kia, like this thing's got a wobbly wheel,
Oh my gosh!
And he went and got like a 24-year-old wife and popped out some more babies and adopted one of hers, and before you know it, there was like 7 of us. It's it's just like a dysfunctional Brady Bunch, like it was, and then. We're spread all over the place, dude. From here to Polk County, you'll run into a Bell, Yeah, it's just weird. But my dad, I always, people are like, "Why does your dad have so many kids?" And I'm like, he likes to have sex, dude.
Yeah.
Like, why is that a question? The guy doesn't pull out. What do you want? Which taught me. I only got one son because after him,
gosh.
I'll kick a woman across the room before that happens again. Like they're expensive, dude. I ain't doing it.
Oh man. Take me back to the improv when you won that competition. How quickly did things escalate in terms of a comedy career? Was it slow, or did it kind of take off from that competition?
Great question. I'll say this: it took off way faster than it should have.
Wow.
And I think one of the reasons why is because I was really big guy. Like at one point, in the beginning, I was over 500 pounds. So it was the same time Ralphie May had stepped onto the scene, Last Comic Standing. So I was like Temu version Ralphie May. So, and I got labeled like an urban comic because, like they thought, because I was wearing a FUBU jersey, I was an urban comic. What they didn't know, that was the only thing I could find in a 6XL. So I wore those a lot, I'm like, Burlington Coat Factory has them for $14. I can wear these. And I had a little bit of urban swag to me, but I wasn't like one of these guys that, like walks around, like acting real ghetto or anything. Yeah. But so I started getting booked on all the urban shows, and they love me, and I love the crowds are great because playing in urban shows like skydiving, there's this adrenaline rush. You're like, if you don't do it right, you'll die, So, but if you perform it right, what a rush, it's like so good. If you land on the ground, you're good. But I remember I asked one of the bookers at the Improv a long time ago, I said, why do you only put me on like the most urban shows? And he goes, oh, it's because you're not afraid of the audience. And I said, then obviously I'm not afraid of the white ones. You know what I mean? Like, let me work with Jim Norton or something. And so I was getting booked a lot. And then I started working these small circuits, like these little rinky-dink little circuits that would have, 20 clubs that were inside Holiday Inn. Like little, strip malls that, they just book rooms. They still have some of those like a Bonkers or something like that, where they don't have like a brick and mortar club. They just have their comedy nights in bars and this, that, and the other. So I was working this circuit called Giggles, which is now defunct, which they should have been. But they were headlining me way before I should have headlined because, I was very energetic. I was a big guy, very boisterous, and their level of headliners, they were having a hard time going up after me, and they were getting pissed off. They're like, why are you putting this maniac up in front of me? And so they go, all right, we're just going to bump you up to headliner. So I had to write material fast. I was doing the easiest jokes possible. Everything was like a fat joke, and I wasn't proud of the comedy, but I was kind of addicted to killing and addicted to having all these bookings and the crowds loving me. And I did that for few years, where I was just not getting better, just working these crap gigs. And it took an IHOP date with a very special headliner hurting my feelings to make me a better comic. And I've told this story on my radio show on 102.5 The Bone FM in Tampa so many times because people ask. Bobby Kelly, I'm sure you're familiar with, a very, very funny comic. And I still talk to him all the time. I was featuring for him at the Improv one weekend, and I ate it almost the whole weekend. I did not have I maybe have one good set out of 7 shows. Oh, wow. Because his crowds, they know good comedy, So I'm coming off of doing these crap strip mall gigs, and I'm in the big club, and I'm, doing these easy jokes, and we're at IHOP later that night, and because he was pretty fat then too, so that's what fat people do. We go to IHOP, and he's just out of nowhere. He's like, "How'd you like your set? How'd you like your set, dude? Did you like your sets, dude?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it could have been better." He goes, "No, you suck, dude. You sucked all weekend, dude." And I'm like, "You don't have to be mean." He goes, "Yeah, I do have to be mean, dude." He goes, "You know why? Because you're funny, and that crap you did on stage wasn't funny." And I go, and he goes, "You have a son?" And I go, "Yeah, at the time my son was 8 years old." And he goes, "You have a son?" He goes, "You didn't talk about him one time on stage." I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Aren't you going through a divorce?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "You didn't talk about that bitch one time on stage."
Oh my God.
I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You talk about how fat you were and how you couldn't see your penis." I goes, "That's easy. It's not good." He goes, "You're better than that." Because I met him on a podcast the first time I met him. And I made him laugh, and we had a good time, and that's how I got the feature for him. And he really just kind of put me at that breakfast. He kind of like opened my eyes, and I was like, holy hell, he's right. I'm not talking about the things I need to be talking about. And I noticed like my day job, when I was dealing poker, I was killing it in the break room talking about my kid, talking about my divorce issues, talking about real observational things that are happening around me. It was the things I needed to be doing. So when he told me that, instead of crying and quitting comedy, I took a break. And that break was almost a year.
Wow.
I didn't do another show. I ditched all of my material. I started writing from, not to sound corny, but like from my heart,
wow.
And I started noticing the things that I was saying to my friends about, my family and about dumb people and about, aggravating things and the things that was making them laugh. And I would go, all right, I'm jotting that down, So I'm back to bar napkins or whatever I can write down with. And thank God for the iPhone with the note thing. 'Cause that's what I use now more than anything. I'll just tell Siri to remind me about a premise. And but yeah, I just, that was 2000, all of 2009 I took off. 2010 I come back, I'm at open mics again. And I'm meeting this new crop of comedians. And they're like, wait, you're Johnny B. You've been headlining for a little while. And I go, starting all over, dudes. And so that was a real turning point for me with comedy. And I always think about that being like, if I didn't have that breakfast with Bobby Kelly, I probably wouldn't even be doing comedy right now.
Wow.
So, because I hated what I was doing, and he made me realize it. So, yeah, it's 15 years ago, and I still love it more than I've ever loved it. I still look forward to every single show, whether it's at a kava bar or a theater. I've worked anything from a backyard barbecue to opening for Bert Kreischer on his tour. Like, I get excited every single time. I can't wait, to be on stage, and I still write like crazy. A lot of people my age don't even write; they just keep doing the same hour. And I just want to, I don't know. I think I'll be doing it till I die. Like, there's no retiring. I'll probably die on stage. Yeah.
What advice would you give to a younger comedian who's trying to think of maybe premises to talk about? Like, you kind of hinted on it with the Bobby Kelly story. Is it really coming from an authentic place, like from your heart? Where would you kind of go from there? I
mean, there's different styles of comedy, obviously. I mean, there's different ways of making it now. I mean, you could just, have, you could be, handicapped and go on Kill Tony and be famous pretty fast. Hey, I'm not hating, dude. I thought about buying a wheelchair and going to Austin. I'm not kidding. Dude. I'm not kidding. Good for them, dude. You know what I mean? If I have to curl one hand up.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glad to be here. No, I'll never hate on anybody making money. I'll never, if somebody makes it anyway, I don't care if they fart on a plane and it goes viral. Good for you.
God.
Good for you. But if you're doing it like a regular path, first thing I say is when a young person asks me for advice, I'll ask them how their childhood was. If they're like, "Oh, it's great," I go, "That's probably not for you." Probably not for you. Nobody hurt you. Nowhere. Yeah. No touchies. Nothing. Because that always helps. Being damaged is always a good start. Because I do feel like entertainers in general, because I was in the music scene before comedy, I feel like we're wired different, and I don't think it's for everybody. I think you could want it all you want, but I just don't think that's enough for, to get to, an echelon that you need to be at, to be respected. But I like the drive. Like, I like to see people try, and I will help. I say, write down everything funny you say. If you make people laugh, don't forget that. That's valuable moments, and you want to jot that down, because that's, for me at least, that's how comedy is made. I'm not a guy that sits at a desk, pops on the overhead light, and puts on his readers and goes, "It's time to write some comedy." Comedy happens organically for me, and if you don't remember it and you don't jot it down, then it just goes off into the ether, and you might be 2 days later and go, "Oh, what did I say to that guy?" And I don't. So always be writing notes if you really want to do stand up, and then hang around funnier people. I said this in a comedy forum the other day. It was a lesson I learned a long time ago. If you're hanging around people at your level or below, you're never going to get better. And it's that way with anything.
Yes.
It's that way with real estate. It's that way with, sports. It's that way with anything. You want to be around people that are better than you so that you can, constantly be getting better yourself. It's a competitive field. So you want to have a good core group of friends around you that are funnier than you are as funny as you.
Yeah.
It's so easy to hang around people that are at a lower experience level than you, because then you feel like, oh, I'm the funniest person in the crew. And you might be, but that doesn't mean you're great. You know? So
you're still D3 at the end of the day, or whatever.
exactly.
The
Good.
case is.
Yeah, it's a good analogy. So always, you always want to be getting better and hang around funnier people.
For being in the scene for as long as you've been, how did your group of friends kind of evolve and change throughout the Tampa Bay area? Like, who did you naturally gravitate to, and how did you identify who you wanted to spend your time with?
Yeah. So that was, I started like paying attention. You could kind of like, if you really sit back and pay attention, you could see who like the OGs are and who the greenhorns are and all that. So, and then ask questions. Yeah, I go like, who's like the guy or the girl around here? Who are the people? And the bartenders will tell you, bookers will tell you, oh, this guy. Guys that when I was starting out that was mentoring me and I was opening up for locally, guys like Mike Rivera and Steve Eric and God, it was a lot of great comics out of this area. Like, and then a lot of the guys that used to open for me have surpassed me, and now they're out, touring and and on TV and things like that. It's funny because I'll tell people that I know a certain celebrity. And they'll go, how you know him? And I go, he used to feature for me. And they go, okay. And I'm like, no, for real.
Wow.
Like they just, they went out and they did it, And I was a single dad, and I decided to be a father instead of going to like Los Angeles, because I didn't want my son to, grow up working at a 7-Eleven, And no offense if you work at 7-Eleven, it's a fine establishment. It's no Wawa, but hang around Wawa employees if you want to be better. Always be looking to get better. You might be at Buc-ee's if you keep trying. But no, I mean, that's another part of my story. I was touring and everything, and then my first wife, she kind of wasn't, doing the best part, parenting when I was on the road, and not to get too far into details, and I had to like come back and fight for custody and got my son, and that was when I had to go back to dealing poker and having a day job and still doing comedy. The good thing about Florida is you could stay busy in Florida, so I just never branched too far out anymore. Even now, I call my calendar the Forever Florida Tour because I'm usually in Florida because of my radio program. I don't want to go too far away because you start letting people fill in for you in radio, they replace you fast. It's like the Doug Flutie thing. Like they will take your job. So, I mean, I did a lot of comedy, but the guys that would like feature for me that went out and some of them even famous, like Preacher Lawson, like I remember him featuring for me in Orlando, and I remember telling the booker, I go, this is going to be a rough weekend. This guy's super funny. Like he's like high energy. He's good looking. He's got everything I wish I had. And then, he went on and, pretty much won America's Got Talent, or he went to the finals of the whatever. And he's selling out like theaters now, just it's wild to see that. Guys like Cam Bertrand doing great. He used to be one of my openers when he was starting out. JB Ball was one of my openers. When I went back in 2010, when I got back into the open mic scene, JB Ball I remember his first open mic, and I don't know if you're familiar with him because he hasn't been around a while, but now he's a full-time opener for Brad Williams, the little guy comic. Wow. And he also works for Kevin Hart's network, and he does a lot of writing for HBO. And he's another guy, super handsome, very funny bastard. All that stuff. God, if I was good looking, dude, I'd be so unstoppable. Instead, I just look like a melted piece of Easter candy. Just an angry one. But which is part of my whole thing. But no, when I see that happen, people are like, oh man, that guy, why didn't you? And I go, that's his story is his story, or her story is her story. Good. I love to see that. I love to see people succeed. I decided to stay here, that's my choice,
I see a lot of people in the general like Tampa Bay comic scene. I feel like they really compare themselves to a lot of comics around them. And when they do get wins like that, it's nice to hear that you have that perspective. Like, good for them.
Oh yeah, man. I want everybody to win, and I'm a ball buster, and this it's funny because the last couple of weeks it's been coming up in the local comedy community. You know, like people getting their feelings hurt, and people saying things about people, and really not to sound like an old fogey, but when I came up, ball busting was part of it. And, it started in Seminole Heights playing the dozens on the corner. Like nobody hardly ever punched you in the face because you talked about their mom. That's what you did. It's all fun. And I feel like,
be honest.
Yeah, I feel like you're not going to get better if people lie to you all the time.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, we're all fighting for the same thing.
Yep.
But I bust balls, but I want everybody to succeed if that's possible. Like I'm rooting for everybody. And I said this to a young comic the other day. He goes, "Yeah, man, you really intimidated some people and really kind of act like an ass at the open mic." And he was right. Me and a few of the vets were there, and we were drinking. We were having a good time. There was 4 people at the open mic, so we weren't taking it serious, and we were just in the back, like talking and heckling each other when we were on stage. But there was a couple of young ones that.
Was this at the Vine?
Yeah, there was a couple of comics there that I wouldn't say young. They were probably my age, but they were new at comedy, and they didn't have a good experience. And I actually talked to one of the ladies the next day, and she had the balls to reach out to me, and she said like, "Hey, you guys were rude, and I didn't have a good time." And I was like, "I'm sorry." Like, there's a line, between like busting balls and having a good time and then ruining somebody's experience that's like trying to get their feet under them. And now I feel obligated to like help this lady any way I can.
Man.
I'm like sending her a list of all the open mics in the area because she just moved here from New York, and I go like we're comics, we're broken people,
Exactly.
we're having a good time, but I'm still gonna bust balls. I'm not gonna become a softie, and I think like she's an example of the people I don't want to be mean to, but there's some young comics that think they're great and they're not, and they're arrogant, and I want to bust their balls hard. And at the same time, if they get good and they succeed, I'll be happy for them, And I told the comic that called me out the other day, I said to him, I'm rooting for you guys, mainly because I need openers. And right now it's slim pickings. Everybody's moving to Austin. Like I used to have like a whole like a herd of openers. I could just go, "You come feature for me," boom, and I'll just like. Now I have a handful that I can trust that I know will get up there and do a good half hour, and so now I'm in mentor mode. Now I'm like Fat Yoda, trying to like help these guys that are right on the edge of being there. And I'm like. Like trying to give them whatever advice I can, and also not hurt their feelings because they're Gen Z and they're gonna cry, and I'm just like But I like that process too, though. I kind of like when people ask me for advice and I can help them out.
And that tough love that you got from Bobby Kelly, I mean, that's kind of the same kind of deal with
the best thing that ever happened to me. I tell people that all the time. It's the best thing in comedy that ever happened to me, and I've done a lot of great things. I've played a lot of cool stages, and I mean, I was Ralphie May's opener for 7 years. His Southeast opener, like he used regional openers, so like his roster was crazy to be part of. So like if he was in Florida, he would usually use me, or even like Georgia, anywhere in the Southeast, his agent would call me because we just became friends.
Wow.
And the other parts of the country, it was Ari Shaffir, it was Gary Cannon out in California, it was the Smash Brothers or Bash Brothers, it was Billy Wayne Davis in Tennessee, in that area, like just killers all over the place. And then Johnny B, down here. And I always felt like I don't belong in that group. But then I talked to those guys and they're like, "Yeah, you definitely belong in that group." But I don't know. I think that's part of being a comic too, is we're very self-loathing, Sometimes, I'll just get real down on myself, and I'm like, "God, I suck," like what am I doing? And then my wife's like, "You have fans, like relax."
When would you get like that? Like, what would have to happen in order for you to get down on yourself typically?
I mean, sometimes I'll see like people around me succeeding, and I'm happy for them. But then I want it also. You know? So I go, man, I want to drive a better car.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to own a bigger house. You know, I would like to, I would like to have more Instagram followers. All these things. You know, and then there's this voice in the back of your head goes, well, then work harder, fatso. You know, work harder. And I go, but I'm working as hard as I can. You know, and then then you'll start questioning like, should I be doing this anymore? And I know a lot of comics give up because, they start feeling like you're never going to get there. You know, I mean, I saw Matt Rife was on Bert Kreischer's podcast about a year ago, and I remember when Matt Rife was a middle act. I mean, I remember when Tom Segura was a middle act. I mean,
Wow.
I used to be one of the house MCs at the Improv, so I would see all these middle acts coming through. I'd see Nikki Glazer as a middle act. I'd see all these people before they blew up, and thinking they're pretty funny. But I saw Matt Rife on Bert's podcast, and it blew my mind. He said that he was getting ready to quit comedy, move back to Ohio, and get a normal job, and then his TikTok blew up, like just in the nick of time. He had a TikTok go viral, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. And, a year after that, he's doing $25 million world tour.
Yeah.
So, like, that's one reason not to give up. The other reason is I love stand-up, and I would do it for next to nothing. And some of these bookers around here know that, and they really take advantage of people for that. So I won't work their clubs. But, yeah, I'm just... I love it too much to ever quit, but there's always that voice that's like, dude, just get a regular job, But
your regular job now is entertainment, essentially, right? Like you're full-time entertainment mode.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's only an hour in the daytime. I'm 102.5 The Bone in Tampa, number 17 Market. But that hour, I reach so many people because we are such a big market and we are such a big station. And I'm following one of the #1 morning shows in the country. And I didn't realize the impact until I started doing mornings. And that was the first of the year.
How did you get into radio to begin with?
Great question. So in 2012, they had a competition to find the next big radio personality in Tampa. So Mike Calta, our morning show guy, our flagship guy, and one of the biggest personalities in the country, we became friends because I'm a comic. He loves comics. At the time, his best friend was Ralphie May. That's how I met Ralphie May.
Oh, wow.
And now his best friend is Bobby Kelly, ironically. Yeah, so he just, he's always has a fat best friend. Even though Bobby Kelly's not fat anymore, he looks great. So I think he still calls himself fat, and he's not fat.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, they had this competition. I get a call from Mike Calta, and at the time he was still Cowhead. He used to be Cowhead professionally, and then he went to his real name in 2015. He killed it off. That's another story. It was a roast that he had with all killers and me, which is crazy. That dais was the craziest thing ever. But he calls me up and he goes, hey, they're having a competition. Because he had been on a podcast I was on. Him and his co-host Galvin came on a podcast I was doing in 2008, same one that Bobby Kelly came on. And he goes, he was telling me to put a demo together way before this competition. And then when the competition came around, it was about a month before, he goes, you need to do this competition. It's going to be in Ybor City. It's at the Ritz. It's a casting call. There's going to be a panel of radio personalities and program directors and media people, and we're going to call people up on stage, and you're just going to audition. And he goes, I don't know how many people show up, but you're a shoo-in. You're going to win. And I went down there. It's like a January morning. It was cold. Just drove across the state from doing shows.
Wow.
I was hungover. And I had to stand in this line outside of the Ritz in Ybor, and it was over 200 people auditioning, and I was number 185. And there was a lot of ex-radio people that were on the beach, is what you call it when you're not working in radio. They say you're on the beach. A lot of beach goers there. And then there was a lot of just hobbyists, podcasters, landscapers that thought they had the chops, just people like that wanted to be on the radio. And that's cool. If you want to go down there and take a shot, do it. It's like American Idol. You got people that can't sing to try out. And I stood there and for hours in line listening to people around me. They were annoying me. These guys were like, this guy was like talking to me in like a fake radio voice. He's like, I do a podcast. And I'm like, please don't talk to me, dude. Like, I have a headache. Please don't. And he's like, no, man, check it out. And I'm like, please, God, don't do this, man.
Oh my
For
God.
hours, I wanted to murder this dude.
Oh
right?
my gosh.
And by the time I got to do my audition, I didn't have anything planned. I was just mad, and I got up there and I just ranted like for a minute. You know?
What was the audition supposed to be like?
You just interact with, like, they would talk to you, kind of like you're talking to me.
Oh, wow.
But it was a bunch of them. You know, it's like this whole round table of personalities.
Like a Jedi council of personalities.
Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And like all heavy hitters too. And then like writers for like the Tampa Times, things like that. And one of the personalities that was there, Drew Garabo, who is still on our station. He's our afternoon guy, but at the time he was our midday guy. Well, he had a train horn under the table, and his job was to train horn blast people that were doing so badly to just cut it short because there was so many people. It's like the Gong Show. Let's get him out of here.
Wow.
But he was being super nice that day, which really wasn't his MO. Like on the radio, his show was called In Your Face with Drew Garabo because he was like the guy that would get you, you know? So I was like, oh, Drew's going to get these people out of here, you know? So I'm in line, I'm watching these people bomb, and he's not blasting them. And I'm getting more aggravated. And the guy next to me, he's like, anyway, so I'm going to get up there. I'm going to get up there and I'm going to talk about that. And I'm like, I'm going to kill this dude.
Oh my
so by the time I got up there, my whole rant was really on Drew. And we're buddies now. But I was like, why, Drew? Why?
Oh my God.
Why did you let these people do this to us, Drew? And I'm just like going off. And I get off stage and I go, man, I blew that. And as I'm walking off stage, still our promotions manager, 13 years later, Mike Olivero, who's a Tampa radio legend, he's handling all the backstage stuff. And I walk off and I go, yeah, I blew that. And he goes, no, you did not. He goes, that was the best thing we've had all day.
What?
He gives me his card. He goes, if you don't win this contest, I'm going to make sure you get on the radio. And I go, what? That's crazy. Yeah. So that I ended up winning the contest.
No way.
So they put the top 5 online for the fans to vote of the 200 and something people. And Steve Miller, who's a local comic, he was in the top 5. Maurice Jovan, who's now known as a cat named Mo, that's on our station. Afternoons with Drew Garabo, he's his co-host now. He was in the top 5. He ended up getting second. I got first. I get the 90-day contract. That's what you won. And the contract basically guaranteed you to do one weekend on the radio. I didn't know that. I thought it was 90 days, and it was at midnight on the weekend. So I go there with a couple of the producers for the Mike Calta show. They let me in. They ran the board. I had my little notes and kind of ran it like I did my podcast. And, I did all right, And then the next weekend, I go back because I'm like, I have a 90-day contract. They're not there, There's an overnight board op and a janitor. And the board op's like, what are you doing here? And I go, I have a 90-day contract. I'm here to do my show. And he goes, oh, well, I'll take the replays out and I'll just set you up and you can go live. And I go, okay. So he took out all the replays, let me go live. I did my show. I did this for several weeks, every weekend. The janitor would let me in. I didn't have a swipe card. He didn't speak English. He would just let me in. And I learned how to run the board. The guy that was running the board, his name was Todd, good guy. He goes, let me show you how to run the board. And this board is the size of a rooms to go couch.
Wow.
It's huge. And I learned how to run the board. I started running the show by myself. And it got to the point where I was like, I need to get hired because I need a swipe card. So I show up one day to talk to the program director, and no appointment. I didn't know that's how you did things in the corporate world. I just show up. I walk in behind somebody that had a swipe card. I just walk in with them, and I walk straight to it. I go, hey, where's Shark's office? And they're like, who are you? And I go, I'm here to see Shark. And they're like, he's down the hall.
Wow.
So they show me to his office, and I just walk in. He goes, he looked like he was scared. I was there to like shoot up the office. He's like, hey, what are you doing? And I go, hey, Shark, remember me? And he goes, yeah, you're Johnny. You won the contest. I go, yeah. I go, hey, I don't want to bother you. I said, could you hire me? Because you don't even have to pay me much. Like, I just want a swipe card, so I don't have to like, sometimes the janitor, I have to wait for him to come down with a broom, to get in. And he goes, what are you talking about? And I said, for my show on the weekends. He goes, you did the one weekend. And I go, no. I do every weekend. He goes, so you were here last weekend? I said, I've been here every weekend. He goes, you weren't supposed to be doing that. You were supposed to do one weekend. We gave you like $1,000 that you won for the contest. And I said, but I thought it was 90 days. He goes, all right, can you do me a favor? Can you go have lunch and come back and see me in a little bit? So yeah, once again, fat guy, lunch, I'm there. So I go have lunch, I come back, and I had an actual appointment time with him. And I walk in, he's just smiling ear to ear, and he's like, I just went back in the skimmer and pulled some of your tape because you've been doing radio every weekend. I said, yeah. And he goes, you're actually really good.
And it was broadcasting?
Yeah, I was live on air on the weekends from midnight to 3 a.m.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, by myself, just talking into the ether, and like people would call in and I would interact with them. And I called the show The Midnight Meltdown with Johnny B.
Oh, my God.
And I would write down things that annoyed me and I would just go on air and talk about it. And he goes, yeah, man. He goes, I like you. He goes, I think you're going to be my next big radio star. He goes, what? He goes, I can't pay you a lot. I can't give you a contract that goes through corporate, but I'll give you an hourly part-time wage, and we'll get you hired and get your swipe card, and you continue to do what you're doing on the weekends. So I was like, great. I mean, he was gung-ho. He's like, you're going to be my next Mike Calta. And I'm like, this is great. And I got the job, and then 3 weeks later, he's gone. He left and to go travel the world or something. And the new program director is great, but obviously not the same vision. Ended up putting me and Maurice Javon, a cat named Mo, on a show together at night. We took over. Artie Lang had a nighttime show, and then he had some issues, lost that gig. They put us together. We ended up going #1. We had a show together, and then several years later. And we still had our weekend shows. Several years later, we split up, have our own nighttime shows. And he actually is the one that told me to not call it the Midnight Meltdown 6 months in. He goes, put your name on it. Call it the Johnny B Show. Yeah. And I was like, he's smart. That's good branding. So it was the Johnny B Show from that point on. But yeah, that's how I got into radio, and then nighttime's forever. And when they decided to kind of shuffle the roster around and dissolve nighttime radio, they found a spot for me in the daytime. Thank God, because some people didn't get called back. So, yeah, but it's I just like comedy. I look forward to going to work every day, dude. Like I wake up in the morning, I get my coffee, I print out my prep sheet. I might be the only one that has like a really nice looking prep sheet, but I also have a degree in graphic arts, so I'm pretty good at them. And I sit there with my coffee, and I go into the news. I listen to the Mike Calta show because I like to recap his stuff, being his after show, and then I just I can't wait to drive across to Tampa and get on air every day. And I'm mad when the show's over. I want to do more.
You feel like you can honestly just talk for hours and hours and hours?
I've done a 4-hour show.
Oh my gosh.
My show on the weekends was 4 hours for a long time, and yeah.
With people calling in though? Or?
No, I mean I have producers and co-hosts and things like that.
Still, oh my Lord.
And callers, and I bring in guests and things, but yeah, talking's never been a problem for me. As you can see, I've been talking my ass off today. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean.
Well, you're a wealth of knowledge. I didn't want to.
No, man. Yeah.
I'm genuinely curious. Like, it's
we
crazy.
could do a whole week series with me. No, I'm kidding.
So, if you had to pick though, like stand up A+ career or radio A+ career, if it had to be one or the other, what one would you like to pour more into or blow up more at this point in your career?
Yeah, I mean it's tricky, right? Because stand up, obviously, I love, but to be like on the top, you have to work so much away from home. Like you're on the road constantly,
and you love Tampa.
And I have a wife that actually she's my third one, and I get along with her and look forward to seeing her every day. And I have 2 dogs that aren't dead yet, and until that happens. They're probably thinking the same thing about me. We probably look at each other and just wait.
Stop, bro.
I don't know, man.
It's gonna be one of us soon.
Tick, 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 boy. Yes, one of us is having the last meal soon. But no, yeah, I don't know. I think she could handle it, but I don't know. I also love radio. Also, like, I had that question brought up to me recently, like, if you could sing instead of comedy.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, God, that's a toughie too, because I enjoy singing in
Really?
front of
You
people.
enjoy singing that much?
I mean, yeah, I still from time to time will get asked to do like the national anthem at local.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did the Rays game last year in front of like a sold out crowd with the Red Sox in town. I've done, I think it's funny to sound. Monster Jam was the biggest crowd I've ever performed in front of because I did the national
Monster
anthem.
Trucks?
Yeah, and it was at Raymond James, but it was like,
oh my God.
I didn't think anything of it. I go, man, I get to sing at Raymond James. That's cool because I've always wanted to sing like in front of a Bucks game. I haven't done that yet. If you're listening,
Yep.
if you're listening. But when I show up, I look around and I go, how many people are here? And they're like, 55,000 people. I'm getting ready to sing in front of 55,000 people, dude. And they're like, yeah, get up on this podium and acapella this bitch. And and then they asked me back a couple years in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I think I got replaced by the only better anthem singer that lives around here, and that is the great Sonia Bryson. For the Tampa Bay Lightning, because they didn't call me back to the Monster Jam. I go, man, they didn't call me back this year. And they go, yeah, I think Sonia Bryson's doing it. I go, well, yeah, let her do that then. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let me know if she blows a hammy or something. I told the Lightning that too, because I worked one season with the Lightning doing their after shows because they broadcast on our station. And they wanted to bring some humor into it. And then that lasted a year. It was kind of like Dennis Miller doing Monday Night Football. They were like, we tried it, hated it. Yeah, we don't want funny. It's hockey. We just want pucks and numbers. But they know I can sing. And they kind of hinted around like if something happens and she can't be there, So all the time I'm like, you take care of yourself, Sonia. Yeah. I'm over here on the bench. No, she's great. I actually enjoy hearing her. I will critique other national anthems though.
Oh my gosh.
Like the Florida Panthers. I don't know who's booking their anthem singers. But every time I watch like the Lightning play the Panthers, they got the most garbage anthem singers.
Oh my gosh.
And I'll do that too. I don't care if it's a child. If I'm watching a football game,
oh my God.
and I go, who's this 11-year-old idiot? You know what I mean?
You're looking them up.
Okay, whatever. Make a wish. Well, I wish you weren't singing. How about that?
My God.
Good Lord. I'm over here waiting. I'm waiting in the wings, kid.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I mean, I love all of it. All the entertaining, I love it.
Yeah. If you could get into like acting, would you ever do that?
I've done some of that. Yeah, I've done some acting stuff too, some commercial stuff. I actually filmed a pilot that was being pitched to Netflix and things like that. Bad timing. It was all comics that got booked. It was filmed in Sarasota. It was a great idea for a pilot. And we filmed one episode, and we filmed it a month before the pandemic.
Oh my gosh.
Which crushed everything. Like we had all these backers and all this stuff, and when the pandemic popped off, everything shut down. And you can still find it on YouTube, the first pilot. It's called Advisors. So it's kind of like a office spoof on financial advisors.
Oh, that sounds great.
And I was the starring role on it, and it was a lot of local comics were in it. Ron Hortman, Catherine Maloney, Rio Paris, a lot of the guys that and gals that came up around here were in the in the sitcom, which I really thought I had a great shot, and the pandemic just poo-pooed everything.
Man.
But no regrets. We carry on. But no, I can do some acting.
Looking back on your comedy career, what would you say one of your proudest moments are? Probably within the past couple of years, would you say?
The past couple of years, opening for Bert last year for the.
Where was that?
It was at Curtis Hickson. Oh. So there was. I don't know how many it holds, but it was sold out, so it was 2,200 people, something like that. And to play a theater, like I played that many people for Ralphie a lot back in the day, and it was wild. He had to teach me how to perform in front of that many people because your timing's different because
of the laugh.
You have to wait because the laugh comes in from the back of the room. It's like a wave, it's like a tsunami. And that's how Ralphie explained it to me back in the day. It's like, hey, baby, because Ralphie talked like an old black lady. It's like, hey, baby, you got to slow down now. I know you're up there all energetic and everything, but you're going to step on your own dick if you don't slow down. And I'm like, I can't even see it, Ralph. But it really taught me. It goes about pacing. Different rooms have different pacing. And And I'm glad I had that experience opening for Bert, because I ended up having, it was only a 10-minute set, but it ended up going really well.
Wow.
And
how did it feel up there?
There's nothing better. There's nothing better than a full room of people laughing and loving what you're doing.
And excited to be there, obviously. Like,
it's unbelievable. Yeah, and that was what I loved about working with Ralphie. His crowds were there to laugh, and they loved him so much. They showed up in the best of moods. They waited for months for these days, so they come there, they're primed and ready for you. You just got to go up there and do your job. It's like a season ticket holder for a football team. They show up ready to scream and holler and go. That's their team. So when you open for somebody with that kind of fan base that is loved that much, you just go in there and do your job, and don't let the size of the event, scare you or cause you to crumble under the pressure. You gotta ride that wave. Like if you're a surfer, you want to go find the biggest waves. So I love it. Like any chance to do something like that was great. There's been another one was opening for Ralphie in Orlando. My son was about 14. It was his first time seeing me do stand-up. And I brought him to the show with my wife, I just started dating her at the time.
Wow.
So now I get to impress this kid and this girl with a sold-out show at Hard Rock Live. My dressing room was Bruce Springsteen's the night before.
Oh my God.
And
I would have been sniffing the seats, dude.
Bro, yeah, I've been to like 6 of his concerts. Like I love Springsteen.
My gosh.
And as my son's walking in with my girlfriend, and like I have my own like I don't know, whatever you call it, a green room person, and
concierge.
I wanted you to say the word. I can't spell it or say it, but yeah, and she was a real nice lady, and she's like, "I'm really sorry. There's still some of Bruce's stuff from here." I go, "What do you mean?" She goes, some of Bruce who? Bruce Lee? Who are you talking? She's like, "What are you talking about? Bro. What are you talking about?" He's like, "Bruce Springsteen. He was here last night."
Oh my God,
that's Bruce Springsteen. So I'm like touching waters.
Oh my God,
did he drink out of that bottle of water? But So my girlfriend and my son, and then I get up there and I have a great set, like just boom, like crowd's going crazy. Ralphie wasn't feeling great that night, so he goes, "Hey, can you do the meet and greet without me?" So I'm out at the merch table, and his merch table used to be like a flea market. Like,
oh my gosh, I can
imagine. He sold 1,000 things, and he had like 5 people working it. And I'm doing a meet and greet without him, and there's a line of people, and my son's standing there. He just watched me crush in front of a sold out like massive theater, and now I'm like signing autographs. And at one point, I signed a lady's boobs. Like that's the thing every entertainer wants to do before they die, right?
Yes.
She's like, "Go ahead," and I'm like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "Happy Gilmore, this is great." And my son's 14. He's over there, so we're riding home. And it's quiet, like there's still a buzz going on, but it's like dead quiet. And then my son says, we're on I-4, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, is that how it is every weekend?" And I go, "Absolutely, buddy." That's exactly how it is every weekend. I didn't have the heart to tell him that I played for 6 people in Valdosta, Georgia the weekend before that.
Oh my God.
I couldn't tell him that, and I think I got paid in chicken wings or something.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that was I still think about that night and that moment. That was cool.
That is so cool, man. I want to kind of wrap up with this, but I'm very young into comedy. I'm really ambitious and towards, having a career one day. And I'm kind of curious, with everything that you know about the scene and what you've experienced as a stand-up, what's like one mistake that you see a lot of young comics make that you wish they didn't make?
Getting ahead of themselves, they call it a journey for a reason, and, I don't mind if somebody, gets famous in a minute. That's fine. But that's very hard to do. It's like hitting a scratch-off ticket, So if you really want to be a good comic and a respected comic and have a long career, you got to find your comfort on stage. I see a lot of comics that are still uncomfortable, that are younger comics that are trying to get booked for money. They're creating EPKs, and I'm like, you don't have 5 minutes. You don't need an electronic press kit. You need comedy. You need comfort on stage. Hit as many stages as you can. Like I said at the beginning, hang around funnier people, hang around people that have some knowledge. Us old comics, we don't dislike young comics. We like you guys, and we want to help you guys, and we want good openers. So we're gonna try to foster the community as much as possible. But yeah, you'll know when you find your voice on stage, and it takes a while sometimes. Louis C.K. was in an interview a long time ago and said it took him like 8 years to find his voice on stage. And when he found it, it was just his voice. And that was when I heard that, it made a lot of sense, because I did the same thing. I went through different like almost personalities on stage, where I was like the timid guy, and I was like the sarcastic guy, and I was like, and then it just came to a point where I would get on stage and I'm just Johnny B. That's the Johnny B at Publix, or the Johnny B in the break room, and just talking comfortably and having a good time with it, and then if you find yourself not loving doing it, don't do it, but yeah, just get on stage, get comfortable, write like crazy, hang around funny people, and you'll know when you're ready to make money, because people will offer you money. Don't demand money at the beginning. Get good enough to where people like myself go, hey, Jared, you want to come open for me? I got $100 for you. And you go, holy shit, Johnny B's giving me $100. Then you're taking the steps,
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's what I would tell a new comic that's been in it less than a year. Just be patient, work hard, and be nice to people. When you do get a gig, be early. Be a half hour early.
Yeah.
Don't be on time. You're always a half hour early. You want to be one of the last people to leave. If a crowd laughs at you, you want to thank them afterwards. Unless you have another show to get to, stick around afterwards, shake people's hands, thank them for coming out, and thank the bookers or thank the club owners, and just be present and be nice. That's pretty easy.
That's good, dude. Anything that you'd like to promote to the, for the show, or anything like that you got coming up?
Absolutely. You can go follow me on everything, Johnny B Tampa, on all my social media. I post all of my stuff. I'm in my 50s, but I'm a real teenager when it comes to my social media. 102.5 The Bone FM in Tampa. You can also find that on the app or online. I have fans in Alaska and Hawaii. It's cool. I'm on 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. every morning right now, Monday through Friday. And JohnnyBComedy.com. Check out my schedule. Come see me. I'll be in Winter Haven. The Laugh Out Lounge. I'll be there headlining Manny Gassett's featuring for me.
Oh, yeah.
And that's on the 22nd and 23rd of August. And the 22nd is his birthday. So
wow.
He's like a lady. So come on out. Bring him a birthday sash. He'll love that. He will. He will love it. But no, Manny's a good example of one of the guys that I'm mentoring, because he's a good dude that really is trying, and he's showing some chops.
Absolutely.
So, but just come out and see me at a show. I'm the last one to leave every show still. As a headliner, I will wait until they turn the lights on in that place and the janitor makes me leave, and I'll be the first one to show up. I still love it. So, yeah, that's it. Come see me. Thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on again,
Dude, thanks
brother.
for having me.
Absolutely. This has been episode 22 of Your Only Friends. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to check Johnny B out as well. Thank you guys so much.